Hey guys, welcome to the Omaha RIA on a Thursday night. I know that's a little bit different for us. But before we get started, one of our RIA members is running. And well, I'm going to let Dakota Smith come up here before we get started. Tell a little bit about what he's doing. That's super exciting. And yeah, I'm excited to have you, man. Congratulations. Love one of our own getting in there.
There you go. Good evening. My name is Dakota Smith, and I'm running for Douglas County Assessor and Register of Deeds here in town. So I wanted to introduce myself real quick as a commercial real estate broker. I was in residential real estate for 7 years before I jumped into commercial. And I'm also an investor. I've invested in multifamily. Just recently took down a larger retail structure, multi-bay building there. So I have a really strong understanding of real estate from commercial, residential, from homeowners, the whole 9 yards. So I just announced a couple hours ago that I'm running for this. The campaign's going to be next year during the midterms. And, before real estate, I spent 8 years in Washington, D.C. working on federal policy related to building construction, codes, energy efficiency, appraisals, all of that. So I have a long history of working in and around real estate, and I'm hoping to bring that experience and a fresh perspective to this office. It's going to be a wide open race. I'm hoping to solicit bipartisan support for this. It's going to be something where it takes a lot of people to get elected in a county-wide race, where we're going to be in charge of the values of 210,000 parcels. I know that there's a lot of people in this office that know that when you know your county assessor's name, it's probably because you're upset. And that's part of the job, but that's why I feel called to this office, is because I know it's important. I know that we can continue to do a good job in that office, and I hope to win your support. I'll be around for comments later. I just want to say thank you to Ted again for letting a politician steal the microphone for a few seconds. Thank you so much. We have a question? Sure. My name is Dakota Smith, and I'm running for Douglas County Assessor and Register of Deeds. Thank you, Ted.
Thanks, buddy. You got my vote. There we go, man. It's always fun when one of our own are running and getting into politics. So we like to support them and lift them up. And Dakota's a good guy. We were at KW Elite together back in the day, weren't we? Yes. That was good times. So I want to do some introductions to our booths. And first off, I will let Jerry Schlickburn talk.
Hi, everybody. We have the least fancy booth up here tonight. Yeah. What are we? So we are Dream Vesting, formerly known as Orange Property Management. We are property management, but we like to think of ourselves more as asset management. If you know me, I've been in real estate for a really long time. I teach classes. We do a lot of investment ourselves. And so we take an approach with property management that is from the investor's perspective. And so we do the typical property management. We also do property analysis, so portfolio analysis. If you have questions about how can you make it better, you want to sell it, positioning, repositioning, those kind of things. And then also, a lot of you have taken my investment classes over the years, and I didn't run them last year, but I'm going to be running them again this year. So I have a self-paced series, and I'll also be starting an in-person class later this year or the beginning of next year. So if you're interested in that, please come and see me.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it. Next, we have our event sponsor tonight. You want to take it right here, huh? Right in front of you got your banners here. This is good. Yeah, so we'll give you some shout outs up there too. So Scott is with Frankel, my personal accountant. Actually referred to me from Jerry Schlickburn back like 2018. You're like, hey, you have to work with these guys. And then Chris Palmer was like, you got to work with these guys. And I'm still here. And you guys have been sponsoring since the day we started taking over the RIA. So I appreciate that. So yeah, we tell us a little bit about your company. You can take up to 5 minutes. It's your event tonight. So.
Well, I'm Scott Weaver, CPA with Frankel. We're a full service CPA firm. So what that means is anything you can think of from taxes, bookkeeping, business valuations, help desk even, We have a partner with wealth management, litigation support services. Anything you would need, we can probably help you with. The firm's been growing. We are in that First National building off 114th and Dodge, right by the expressway. We now have a nice big sign up for everybody to see. So we're not just moved, we just finally got a sign. But yeah, it's tax time. I know this is front of mind, tax planning time. Now is the perfect time to come and see a CPA and fill them in on what's been going on during the year. We also do bookkeeping services to help get everything cleaned up and ready to go. Make things a little easier for your tax preparers as well. Give you real financial data and insights throughout the year. And then we've got business valuation services that could be helpful for any of you in the room as well. But that's Frankel in a nutshell. So thank you all, and we're glad to be a sponsor.
Thank you. Appreciate your long support. And tonight's drink sponsor, and just so you know how this works, is after the event, we find out the best networking always happens at the bar. And that's where we're trading deals, and that's where we're hanging out. And so the first round of beers are going to be taken care of by Angela herself, has set the stage. Angela's going to tell a little bit about herself, the giveaways that she's doing, our book drawing, and so on. So Angela.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm Angela Markham with Set the Stage here in Omaha. So we help realtors market their homes through home staging. What's maybe a little bit different about our staging business is that every piece of furniture is for sale. So think about walking through a home that's staged, but it's a curated collection of furniture where you can purchase anything you want, whether you're thinking about buying the home or not. And so this does a couple things. It's first of all, a huge benefit to the buyer. They could essentially walk into a home and it's move-in ready, literally don't have to lift a finger to have a fully furnished move-in ready home when they buy. Another thing it does is when we're staging our furniture, it allows us to turn it over. So our furniture is trendier and in better condition than maybe what you're used to seeing with staging furniture. Another thing this does is it allows us to sell brand new furniture. So we sell our staging samples, we call them. They're all a brand new when we buy them, and they're just moved. So never used, just moved. They've been staged. And then also we can order brand new furniture. So we have about 50 furniture vendors that we can order from and order brand new items. So if you like a sofa that's a staging sample, we can order a brand new one. We can also help investors who maybe have properties and are interested in getting into midterm and short-term rentals. We can help you furnish for those. We can do a full top to bottom furnishing rental property, or just fill in the gaps. If you have some items and you just need some help kind of pulling everything together, we can do that as well. So yes, we have the book giveaway. Come and drop in your business card into the basket if you want to win the book tonight. And then another thing we're doing is I want you guys to tag on Instagram. We're Set the Stage _Omaha Metro, and you have to tag Ted Kosh Money. Kosh Money. Tag us both, and the first 5 people I see tagging get $50 in staging. It's a gift card, staging gift card, or furniture purchase. There's 5 of those to give away.
I mean, we got everybody. I mean, between Jerry and Frankel and Blackstone, all you guys are the original sponsors. You guys know that, right? Anyway, we got Marty McGuire with Blackstone Insurance, specializing in commercial investment properties. Has been my insurance agent for a long time. I've also known Marty since he was 16, and where we got in our first car accident together. And yeah, so lots of history, and I trust him enough to say that he's the godfather to my daughter. So that means a lot to me. And if I trust him this much, you guys should trust him too. So I'll let Marty tell you a little bit about his company.
Wow, thanks, Ted. Hey, folks, good to see you all again. Marty McGuire, I'm with Blackstone Insurance Group. I am a property casualty broker. So working with a lot of real estate investors, that's kind of my primary focus, is making sure that I'm up to date on all the different possibilities, options when it comes to rentals, single families, clear up to, 100 unit apartment buildings. I can do with that all day. it's a tough market out there. So if I can be a resource to you, I'm constantly out there hunting down new products, new specialty programs, things that we can use, because I mean, I'm getting calls every day. People are getting non-renewed, particularly on older properties. So if you want me to take a look, whether it's on a single property or an entire portfolio, we can go out there and shop it. We've been busy and we're being successful in helping save people money the vast majority of the time. So give me a shout. We got access to some things that most of the local brokers do not. Like I said, I'm out there hunting stuff down. So whether it's flips, whether it's, renos, whether it's just a rented occupied property, doesn't matter. We can do it all. If it can be insured, I can do it as a broker. And one thing I might mention, if you have any properties with a company called Auto Owners, which is a really good company, and you've been recently notified that your property is being non-renewed because your agent is no longer with Auto Owners, give me a call. Most likely it's going to be in your best interest to keep that policy with Auto Owners, which is a really good company, I might mention. And if you give me a shout, all we have to do is sign a form. It gets transferred to me, and the policy gets to stay in effect because I do represent Auto Owners, and my contract didn't get pulled. So give me a shout. If I can be a resource, happy to help. Thanks.
And last, we have Mo Albers with Realty One Group.
Hello, Omaha, Ria. I'm Mo Albers with Realty One Group Sterling. And if you look around on your table, you're gonna find some gummy bears and some mustaches. I don't know where those came from. But yes, yeah, whatever. So you have to wear the mustache. Either you can start wearing it now. I know some of you have. Mike, you have to put one on. I'm sorry. I know. There you go, buddy. And then we'll see you at the bar and we'll take a bunch of pictures and it'll be fun. So I must ask you a question. Who is in this room that is interested in investing? Look at all those hands. I knew I was in the right room. Well, I've got a house or two that you could probably stash. So come on up here and take a look. I've got single family. Anybody looking for single family? How about like $145,000 and it's bringing in $1,550 a month? That's a pretty good deal, right? Brainer? All right, I want you to write this down. This is important. Get this in there. So you're going to be interested in 3748 North 43rd Street. That's your address. And then is anybody looking for a fiveplex? Successful? Airbnb? We still have that one for sale too. In good old South Omaha. Who likes South Omaha? Yeah, I'm a South Omaha girl, SOB. That's not for boy, that's for babe. Well, back in the day. So write this down, 3009 South 24th Street, 68108. Did you know you can drive on 24th Street from almost Bellevue to probably Florence? It's kind of cool. All right, so I won't talk anymore, but come on up. We've got plenty of listings that you can choose from. 8plexes, 5plexes, 4plexes. Little Italy is another option.
Thank you, Mo. Appreciate it. Couple shout outs. I want to thank Blackstone Insurance for renewing for another year as a gold sponsor. Lowe's Hills Electric is renewing for another year, giving a 10% discount. A1 Kitchen and Bath renewing for another year, giving you a 10% discount. CoStar Group renewing for another year, giving you whatever discounts they give you. You got to call Jake Danker. And Trustworthy Title and Escrow, Al Nelson. Al, you here? Al, I'll let you say a word since you're here, buddy. Tell us who you are and what you do, and thank you for renewing.
Thanks, Ted. Longtime sponsor of Omaha REIA here. Appreciate everybody's support. Been in business 8 years, been in the industry since 2001. Commercial, residential. Bring your investments. You're only as good as the problems you solve, and we solve lots of problems. Al Nelson, Trustworthy Title and Escrow.
Thanks, Al. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate your support. I was the only person to ever have a walk-up dance to him being a drink sponsor. So just so you guys know, that was kind of a fun one. Hey, real quick, if you guys don't know, Owen Dasher and I have a podcast called RIA Radio. We put our heart and soul into this for almost 4 years, 5 years now. We've got over 250 episodes out there. If you guys get a chance, it would mean the world to us if you guys would give us a 5-star review rating and a written review. Those mean the world to us. We want to be the biggest real estate podcast in the country. And we could say it's right here in Omaha, Nebraska. That'd be pretty damn cool. So if you guys could log into whatever format you listen to podcasts on, or we are on YouTube, and we just broke 500 followers. We almost have more videos than we do, or more followers, more videos than we do followers, just so you guys know. That's crazy. But you can check out every single RIA event that we've done, also live stream on there. So that's what all these cameras are for, thanks to DB Video in the back corner. Moving forward, I want to introduce you because I'm going long, but I want to first off welcome you tonight. I have been down in New Orleans at the National RIA Conference for the owners. It's kind of fun. Learned a lot. Got a really big takeaway, which I hope to announce soon. I also realized that I am one of the youngest RIA owners in the country. The average owner is right around 75 years old. So we were very interesting. And they had me speak on how we run our RIA, how we financially handle our RIA, because most RIAs charge, hundreds of dollars, sometimes $100 a month. Most of them don't have the sponsors. Most of them make money on the gurus being in front of you, selling, and then the owner's getting 50% of that money. And that's how they run their RIAs. They make a ton of money doing it, but they also lose 40% of their membership base every year. We lose 3 to 4% of our membership base every year, and we have 440 members here. So we have a great community. Our community is always growing, and the cool thing about our community is we're always evolving. So there's so many members here that have huge portfolios. Somebody came and was like, "Oh, there's not a lot of rookies." I'm like, "Yeah, we're getting rookies, but the people are staying with us and they're getting bigger and smarter." So talk to the people at your table. I'm not going to point them out. There's people in this room right now that have thousands of units, and they do all types of things. They won't even tell you they're doing it. So talk to the people at your table, get to know them, and they might have some knowledge that you're looking to get to know. I mean, trust me, there's a wealth of knowledge in here, and I'm picking people's brains all the time. So please take advantage of that. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your support. If you could do one thing at your table, every table has one little QR code to sign to give us a review. I mixed all different out. It means the world to us if you do that. So thank you. But without further ado, I do want to introduce our speaker tonight. I got to meet David. Well, first off, David was introduced to me originally through National RIA. I call National RIA up. I'm like, "Hey, I've never had a speaker from National RIA come in." And they're like, "Well, there's David Pickron. David is, he owns Rent Perfect. He owns 4 other companies, and he is one of the most liked and favorited speakers in the country." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. I'm sure that's not true." Well, I went to National RIA, and Dave was one of the keynote speakers at the National RIA event in New Orleans. We were one of the youngest people in there, right, Dave? And amazing speaker, kept the audience engaged the whole entire time. Great topics, and it was stuff that we really wanted to learn about. So I thought that was pretty awesome. And then we went out to dinner and found out that we related on everything, and found out that our wives are twins. So we pretty much married the exact same person, and that was kind of fun to find out too. But the next day it was his birthday, so I could say I celebrated David's birthday with him. So hey, it's David's birthday this week. You say happy birthday. Happy birthday. I talked to almost 200 RIA owners over the last week, and the feedback was really positive. The word in Omaha is getting around. But what I specifically asked them was, I go, "What do you think about David as a speaker?" And they're like, "Oh my gosh, he is our favorite speaker. He's always welcome back. I wish he'd come more." And that's the person you guys are going to have today. David has over 100 employees in his companies. This is not his biggest business. He's speaking because he has a passion for speaking, and that's pretty damn awesome. He flew in from Phoenix this morning, and I'm sure you're tired because you've been traveling a lot lately. But I have his whole sheet run out here. I didn't wear my glasses, so I'm not going to read it to you guys. But that's pretty much what it says. And I really want David to feel that tingle that I get when I stand in front of you guys. So can you guys give them the loudest applause and show them what Omaha is all about? And welcome David Pickron.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a heck of an introduction to keep up with, is it not? Oh my goodness. I'll pay you guys to come up here and speak tonight after that. Well, we went to dinner. We had these charbroiled oysters in New Orleans. We just met each other. Ted and I hadn't known each other for probably 30 minutes. He saw my picture on kind of my brochures and stuff, and halfway through dinner, he says, you know, Dave, you should go re-get your headshots. You look much younger and skinnier in person. Well, I'm not shy, guys. I had hair replacement done about 5 months ago. I haven't got my new pictures. My hair's just coming in. I always joke that I had a really cool piece of land up on my head. It was a great lot. And I had these tenants on the side, and they were just jealous. And so I relocated about 5,000 tenants up into the high rent district. Okay? So that's where I'm at. So if you're looking at me, you're like, well, we saw your picture in this marketing, but you look a little bit of difference. I'm not one to hide what I do. So, you know, maybe midlife crisis, right? Midlife crisis I'm going through. All right, before we get into it, I need to get my presentation up on the screen, guys. I want to start out before I do full introductions, and I want to go through, sorry, I'm crowding you. I'm a mover. Guys, it's hard to contain me. I'm so sorry. I kind of want to go through an exercise with you guys real quick, and if you're like me, you have a hard time clearing your brain. You're always thinking about something. Some investors and entrepreneurs are always like that, right? But if you can just take a second, clear the brain for a second, maybe tilt your head down, maybe close your eyes. I want you, whether you're a long-term investor, a short-term investor, fix and flipper, whatever it is, vendor, I want you to put an address in your head of one of your properties. Okay, so just tilt your head down, think about that address, and I want you to really get in tune with what you're feeling. Okay, so think about that address. What is your gut? What does your heart say to you right now? And if you have multiple properties, you can put in multiple addresses. Okay, how many of you have a great feeling about the address that you put in? Okay. Anyone have like a moderate, maybe not good, not bad, just kind of, right? And any of you said, I might have a problem. Anybody willing to? Okay, right? So I started doing this about 6 months ago, not knowing what was about to hit me. But I kind of, with my audiences, I kind of went through my own portfolio in my head, and I got to one property, and there wasn't great feelings there. And I had to ask myself, what am I feeling? Okay. Now, it didn't help that my tenant the week before called me and said, I don't like what the neighbors are saying to me through my vents in my house. That might have tipped me off just a little bit that something was going on. So rented to a lovely lady. She actually came in as a midterm rental, prepaid her rent, only needed 5 months. And at the end of 5 months, she's like, you know, Dave, I love living here. I love everything. Can we make this permanent? I said, well, not this one, because this one's kind of a midterm, short term, but I do have a home for you. And I moved her in. Okay. Now, when we come in off a short term, and sometimes this 80-year-old came in off a midterm, I'm dead set on following my policies and doing my background checks. But she prepaid her rent. She was 80 years old. And I'm like, what am I going to find? Didn't realize I'd turn her into a long-term renter at the point. So at the point of turning her into the long-term renting and moving her to one of my houses, I still didn't think, I'm not in the onboarding stages. I know her. She's paid her rent. She's got money. And but soon I started getting texts and phone calls that just were a little bit bizarre. And she started going into dementia. Love this lady, loved her to death, great, what I call business partner. I'll tell you about in a little bit, but I loved her to death, but I could just tell she was just slipping, right? Called the people in the application. We want nothing to do with her. Called her kids. I disowned my mom. And about 3 months later, I had this dilemma of, I have my own mom, my own grandma, my own family I need to take care of. I'm not looking for something else. But there's this dilemma because in Phoenix, guys, it's 115 degrees in August out there, right? And as I filed the eviction on her, because she hadn't paid in a while, and she couldn't even tell me if she just forgot how to do it or if she didn't have money. I didn't know at the time. And so I started going through this really big dilemma, right? Maybe in my younger years, I called my attorney. I'm like, hey, what can we do? Throw her out. Okay. I called the constable, the sheriff's department who actually does it. And I'm like, do you recommend them to? Nope. We lock the door, put them on the curb, walk away. Right? And I'm like, man, I must be getting to be a softie as we get older, right? So anyways, I'm going through the eviction. The constable is going to come, and I get a phone call. And honestly, I've been praying for like a way to get out of the situation because I couldn't picture me changing the locks, seeing her at 115 degrees on the, not knowing even what's going on, like not even knowing, right? And then say, okay, see you later. Had a really big dilemma. Bottom line is, the day before the constable comes, I get a nephew who calls me from Vegas and says, Dave, if you hold off for a couple days, I will come out there and I will take care of it and I will rescue you. Anyways, bottom line, he came out and helped me. Guys, I don't even want to tell you the shape that this beautiful home was furnished, that I ended up pulling out couches. Literally twice, I ran outside and lost it, because she didn't even know to go to the toilet. And here's this sweet lady. So my point is tonight we're going to talk about managing your properties. We're going to talk about people. But if you're in this business long enough, no matter what you do, I don't want to paint it that if you listen to me tonight, your life's never going to have another problem again, right? But we are going to save you from a lot of issues on what we're going to share tonight with you. All right. Do you have an answer? Yeah. Okay, guys, just to let you know, why are you spending some time with me tonight? I'm a private investigator. I've spent my whole life digging deep into people's past. So there's a chance that the cable guy here in Omaha that comes into your house has a little card on his side. I've probably done his background check. I do most of the cable companies in the nation. Like Ted said, we're much larger than just Rent Perfect, but we do these deep backgrounds. But then we say, hey, why can't we give deep backgrounds to landlords? Why can't we do what we're doing in corporate Fortune 500s and bring it to landlords? Why do we have to live with just an instant Zillow or an instant database search that misses evictions, misses so much, right? And how can I bring that to you guys for free? Crazy, right? Some of you are going to come up afterwards, after this presentation, and you're going to say, number one question I get asked, how do you make money? You're so concerned about me, but the lights get paid and mama gets a new pair of shoes every once in a while. Okay? So I own 6 companies. I own background investigation companies. I own eviction companies. I originally started out of college with an eviction company. And guys, I hated school. Was anybody in here go to school and just can't stand to sit in a class? My brain's going too much. And I'm kind of like way ahead of where the professor is in my brain. Maybe not on his topic, but certainly on another topic. And I got to the point where I was in my last semester of my senior year of college, and I had 24 credit hours. Way too many to take. So I went to my professor and my counselor, and I said, hey, listen, I'm dropping out. I can't do 2 semesters of 12. And she's like, listen, I'll give you 24 hours. We'll do some independent studies. So I couldn't work. My last semester of college, I was really busy. But my uncle served evictions in the Phoenix area, and I was 2 hours north in a place called Flagstaff, and I would come down and I would serve evictions. And the crazy thing is I actually kind of liked it. Not that I was kicking people out, but I could come down, be on my own time, and I felt that entrepreneur kind of, this is what it feels to kind of work, for yourself. And so I graduated from college and I went down and I started an eviction company because that's what I knew and that's what I liked. And I grew it to be the largest eviction company in Arizona. This is long before the internet, by the way. And I would go to 2 apartment communities and I would do 5 evictions at this apartment community, same A properties. And I'd go over here and this apartment community right next door would have 0 evictions. And I'm like, how can I get these guys to have 5 evictions too? Right? Well, in my investigative mind, I start researching it and I go talk to the managers, and one did backgrounds and one just took money. Right? So soon I went to them and I said, hey, listen, I just evicted this person we're evicting right now 2 months ago at this community down the way. And they're like, really? Well, how can we prevent that? I said, well, I happen to have the largest eviction database in Arizona. I can get you a credit report. And that's how I got into background checks and screening, is through the eviction process. So kind of grew up in it. And then as the internet came along, I used all the technology that we possibly can, but we could not replace the private investigator. We couldn't replace the instinct. Is that not powerful, guys? AI technology is not going to replace your instinct. Okay, as I look at something and I see, why did they spell their name on this application this way? And why did they change their name and their social? And why are they lived in 5 different places? You know, and you start seeing your life does not make sense when you start researching people. But an investigator, or you, if you're trained and good, has to see that. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about this evening. Okay, next slide. Okay, now I got to tell you, I first bought my first couple rentals, and I struggled a little bit with it. Like, it was new. Like, I didn't go to college to be a landlord, right? And I struggled a little bit, and because I mistakenly thought my success depended on the property. Like, aren't we here today at night talking about, want to buy a home down here, and I bought low and sell high, and we always talk about the property. But I soon learned my success depended on the people. Your properties will not make you money unless you have the people. All of those awesome properties in the back for $145,000, by the way, I probably want to buy one because Phoenix real estate's $600,000 for that. Okay? If no one's there to buy, no one's making money selling that house, right? If no one's there to rent your property, no one's making money. Or if you buy that property, you fall in love with it. Does anybody fall in love with their properties like I do? I mean, they're like my kids. I have a hard time selling them. Is anybody else like that, or am I just crazy? Like, I just fall in love with them, right? And I put someone in there and they just completely and totally ruin it and damage it. It's hard. I didn't make money. I now have to refurb the whole thing, and it costs me money. So the right people will make you money. The wrong people will lose your money, right? So let's talk about people tonight. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about 5 keys to fuel success by finding the right business partner. Now, I think every single one of you I'm looking at right now is crazy. You're all crazy. Do you know why I know that? Because I'm crazy too. We buy, say in Omaha, a $200,000 home, a $300,000 home. In Phoenix, it's a $500,000 or $600,000 home. We put an ad out on Zillow, Craigslist, Facebook, and we're about to hand somebody over a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 asset, and we don't even know them. Now think about this. If you were going to start an ice cream shop here in Omaha, okay? I'm going to start a new business. I'm so excited. I need a business partner. I'm going to go put an ad on Craigslist and find me a business partner to run an ice cream shop. Would you ever do that? What would you do? Who would you get? Would it be someone you trusted? Someone who showed that they had a good history at running a business? But here we go buying these assets. We're so proud of ourselves as we're investors, got a good deal on that. And then we turn around and blow our second investment. And do you guys know what the second investment is? It's the business partner that you're going to put into your first investment. That is also an investment. Okay? So for sakes of math, I wasn't always the greatest, sakes of math, if you get, is $2,000 a month in Omaha too much? Is that too much? $1,000 maybe? 2,000? If you can find someone that stays in your property for 5 years, okay? 24,000 a year, 5 years. How much is that business partner or tenant worth to you in your pocket? $125,000. Are they just a renter? Are they just an applicant? Here's the truth. When you link yourself to a business partner, okay? I'm not going to use the word tenant anymore. I'm going to say business partner. You guys know what I'm talking about. When you link yourself to a business partner and they lose their job, is it going to affect you? If they get a divorce, is it going to affect you? Okay? They get sick, they die, get dementia, is it going to affect you? Are they just a tenant? Are they business partner? And your operating agreement for the business is a lease. I bought the property, you will take care of it, and you will pay the bills. And that's our business agreement, okay? So I just want to make sure we know when I use business partner what I'm talking about. So we're going to talk about 5 keys tonight. We're going to talk about proper background checks. Guys, I don't care if you're like, I don't know on this, but do you think every background check is the same? Okay, we're going to talk about that. We're going to kind of dig a little deeper and make it fun and exciting, okay? We're going to talk about red flags that many landlords miss in the very beginning. The beginning is so important. What you do in that very, very beginning of this relationship is critical, okay? We're going to have you ask the right questions at showing. There's so much we can get by just asking a few questions and then listening, and we're going to talk about that. Stuff you're going to get that you're not going to get in a credit report, in a criminal report. So that's going to be kind of fun when we get there. Okay, I'm going to teach you a little bit of how to protect yourself from fraud, talk about squatters, talk about your credit, talk about people hijacking your credit cards. We as investors have to keep our credit tip top if we're going to buy these properties. Okay, and then the right software, the system that we are going to use will make managing easy from beginning to end. If something is easy, how do you do it? Better yet, let me turn that around. If something is hard, how do you do it? Do you do it really well? If something is hard, is it something exciting? When I used to carry around my little manila folder, does any of you guys still carry around the manila folder? And someone I'd show the property and someone said, hey, I'm interested. And I'd take out my copy of my application and I'd give it to them. I'd say, go home and fill it out and call me when you're done filling it out. I'll meet you at the Circle K, 7-Eleven, whatever. And I'll get that application back. And then I'll go to my office and I'll sit at my computer and I'll log in and I'll input your data. Was that fun? It was like too much time. So we cut corners. When things are tough, we cut corners. One of the names that I go by is a successful, lazy landlord, right? I believe in doing it right, but I want to cut as many corners as I can, yet not affect this business relationship, right? So I'm going to actually teach you guys how to work less and have better results tonight. All right. Your success is going to depend on the people. Let's understand the importance of proper background checks. Okay. Do you guys ever watching TV and there'll be a mass shooting and they'll make a comment and they'll say, the background check program in the United States is broken. Do you guys ever hear that? The background check is broken. Do you guys even know what that means? When you get your security clearance card, for if you work for a big aerospace or whatever, you get a top-notch security card. Does anybody have that in here? Anybody gone through that process? Do you know how long it takes? A year. It takes him a year to do a background check on you. Okay? So I have an investigator that's been with me a very long time. Her dad works for the FBI. He comes into Phoenix. He's hired to do a background check for our security clearance card. And he says, I need to check Phoenix. I need to check Phoenix. And my investigator, it's her dad, who works for the FBI, says, Dad, he's got something in Prescott, not in Phoenix. Oh, no. I'm just hired to check Phoenix. But Dad, he's got something north of us in Yavapai County. Yeah, no, that doesn't interest me. Someone else is going to have to figure that out. Their background checks are so discombobulated that 7 people or 10 people are working on it. Things slip through the cracks when multiple people are working on stuff, right? And then you go buy a gun, you fill out an attestation, and within a day you have a background check done there. So how can the government take a day when you buy a gun, take a year when you go work for an aerospace company? Is it the same background? Obviously not, right? Obviously not. Here's how, for you guys are thinking, Dave, what are you talking about? Have you guys ever heard of the NCIC database or the III database? Okay, who uses that most of the time, for those of you who know? The police department. Okay, their life depends on the NCIC. When I pull you over on a dark road in the middle of the night, I'm going to pull up the license plate, see who owns it, and see if they have any arrests. So then I can go up unclipped. I can go down the passenger side. I can plan maybe a little bit different approach on a car if I have somebody in it. They live their life by that, okay? So someone commits a crime. They put the arrest into the NCIC system. It then goes from your city or your county up to the courts. The courts have the hearing to decide whether you're guilty or not guilty. And that court clerk does not ever care about updating the NCIC or the III. So the reality is a lot of what the federal government has is arrest records. And yet the federal government, the Congress comes out and says, hey, Dave, hey, landlords, you can't use arrest records. You have to use court records, and you have to know that they were guilty in order to use that. So it puts us in a really difficult position, right? Okay. So also, I never like to knock competitors. Guys, any background check is good. They're just not all the same. Like I've gone to people and said, do you do background checks? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, so what do you do? We check a driver's license. Like, you check it through the state? Oh, no, we just physically check the background, check the ID. I'm like, okay, if that's a background, then that's a background, but we'll go there. But there's instant databases out there, and these instant databases, I'm just going to tell you, are terrible. They really are. If you put in information and you get information back immediately, you're using an instant database, okay? So, sorry, that's Zillow. That's some big name companies out there. MLS now just launched one on MLS. It's instant, okay? They're going off, checking a database. And when they come back and they tell you no record found, all they're really saying is there's no record found in my database. So if you guys want to make a lot of money, start a tenant screening company, pull credit, and then they can check your servers for your database, and you can have nothing in it. And you can say legally, no record found in my database, right? So how do we do it as private investigators? We go right to the source, which is the courts. We go right to the courts. I can see if an eviction was filed this morning because I'm in the source, and that is the courts. So a lot of people say, Dave, what's the difference between Rent Perfect's background and Zillow's background? It's right there. We're going to the source, okay? Zillow might, or an instant database might, I don't want to pick on Zillow because everybody uses them. They might get that eviction in there 6 months down the road if they go scrape the court, buy the data. But does that eviction record do you guys any good 6 months down the road? Absolutely not. Would you want to know this morning? Yes, you would want to know. As a landlord, I can tell you, you want to know. Okay, so we are an investigative agencies. We are private investigators. When you come through Rent Perfect, You get an assigned private investigator that will be contacting you. I'm looking at your file now. Give me a little bit of time. How long? Does that sound like a long time to do? 4 to 6 hours. It has to be while the courts are open, though, because we're dealing with the courts a lot. It has to be during business hours. 4 to 6 hours. So I'm not asking you to wait a lot of time. We're going to show you in red flags. If they got to move in today, there's probably a problem with that, right? Okay. Identity checks. We see a lot of people being declined because of their identity. And let me tell you why that is. If I want to buy a brand new, nice, red, shiny Chevy truck, and I go down to your Chevy dealership in Omaha, and I'm like, I'll take that red one right there, a little jacked up, you put some cool rims on it. And they say, okay, Dave, I need your social, fill out this application. And I fill it out, and they come back and say, yeah, we're sorry. That $60,000, $70,000 truck is not going home with you today. In fact, the credit's kind of so bad that you need to go down to like Mike's Happy Car Company, right? Where everybody is approved. And so I go down to the buy here, pay here car lot. You guys have a few of those in town, I'm sure, right? And I pull up and I see a sign, everybody's approved. And I go in there and I, maybe not getting my right red Chevy truck, but I go in there and they're like, you know, Dave, we got to change our sign because you're not even getting a car here today. What are my options to get around town at this point? I can walk, get a job at Uber. I can get a bicycle. I can steal a car. I have options. But when I come to your rental and I apply with you and you do a background on me, whether it's credit, criminal, eviction, identity, and I tell you, no, you can't live here, I'm sorry. And you say, oh, that wasn't me, that's somebody else. You guys ever hear that? Oh, that wasn't me. And you say, no, it matches your date of birth. It's your name and your date of birth. What do you think they say? Okay. You're finding that because I gave you the right name and the right date of birth. So maybe when I go to the next place, I'm going to change my date of birth by a digit. I'm going to change my name by a digit. I have ruined my profile that everybody can see. Now I need to change my identity. Guys, this happens all the time. Okay, one more question. How many of you guys, when you were 16 and got your first job, you had to go get your social security card? Anybody in here? Okay. How is it done today? At birth. You don't leave the hospital without filling out the form and it comes in the mail a few days later. The reason they do this is because in 1973, if you look at the statistics, there was a big women's lib movement, right? And you girls stepped up to us guys and said, I don't have to put up with your crap anymore. I'm out of here. And divorces went sky high in 1973, if you look at the divorce rate. Okay? So now that we're divorced in 1973 and we're going to file our taxes, and I say I have the kids with me, I'm getting all the deductions, and you say you have the kids with you and you're getting all the deductions. Our federal government had no way of knowing if you even had 5 kids, 3 kids, 2 kids, or 1 kid. You just voluntarily gave that information. And so they said, how can we solve this information? Let's go ahead and get kids' social security cards right away so we know if parents get divorced, who gets the deduction. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because if I ruined my identity so bad and you've told me, no, I can't live there, and you told me, no, I can't live there, and you told me, no, I can't live there, and I don't have any other options than under the bridge, right? What am I willing to do to get a roof over my head? Okay? So I have kids' social security cards in my manila folder, and I assume their identity. I'm not telling you something I've seen one time. I'm telling you something I see all the time. Okay? I see it all the time. where now 18-year-olds are coming in, and I'm like, you have 18 years worth of records and credit. How in the world does that happen as a minor, right? So just know that I don't think people wake up in the morning and say, you know, it's going to be a great day. I think I'm going to go just mess with the landlord. I'm just going to go lie to him. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to pay a bunch of application fees. This is going to be a great day. They do it because they're desperate and they have to. And so if you don't have a right way of checking their identity from day one, the background check means nothing. We don't know who we're doing a background check on it. We don't even need to do it. So identity needs to be in your process. Rent Perfect does that for you. Eviction checks, we talked a little bit about how we can check an eviction record this morning. Eviction checks are the hardest record for us to find. Does anybody have any idea why that'd be the hardest record to find? When you're booked for a crime, you give them your ID, they roll your fingerprints, you give them your date of birth, it's all in the file. When you guys file an eviction on someone, how many people have filed an eviction on someone in here? Okay. Did you give the date of birth? Did you give their social security number? To the court or to your attorney? And the court took a social security card. Okay, it's a complete violation of civil law to have personal identifiers in civil court. So I'm not sure if they redacted it at that point. They might have redacted what you gave them. But civil law says you cannot put personal identifiers inside civil case. They're protecting people's social, because we have open record laws here in the US, right? And if your social security is sitting in a file that is open to the public, we have a big problem. So if I can't see a date of birth, I can't see a social security number, how do I know it's even them? Right? Because I can say, hey, same name, same date of birth, lives in the same area of the country, probably them. But when we search civil records, so do you know who doesn't put evictions on the credit bureaus anymore? Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. You know who doesn't put judgments on those anymore? Those three bureaus, okay? You know who doesn't put liens anymore? Anything civil is no longer on credit bureaus because they didn't have that identifier and they kept putting it on the wrong person's file and they kept getting sued. Okay? You know what else isn't on the credit bureaus while we're talking about credit? Bad student debt. Medical, bad medical. They are taking all of this stuff off the credit bureaus right now. We think we're getting a score and we're getting this great data. It's not that good anymore. Honestly, it's not that great anymore. And so now you're getting mortgages. Well, most of the people applying at our rentals don't have a mortgage, most of them, right? You're getting maybe a car loan and a credit card loan and some collection agency work. If you said, Dave, I want you to put this bad debt on someone's credit, the bureaus will not take that from me. If you say, Dave, I want you to report that they paid me rent every time all year long, they will take that data. They will only allow us to do positive data. So you go look at if you go online and you look at America's credit scores, you'll see these articles. Credit scores in America are great. They're getting better and better year by year. We're such a responsible country. As every year they take off the negative stuff that would bring your score down. Do you think our responsibility in this country has changed in the last 10 years? So we need to rely on more than just a credit bureau if you guys are using credit bureaus. All right, let's go on to the next one. And then we always will do a nationwide criminal background. People move, people try to get away from their crimes, try to start new, try to come in and just get a brand new start. You know what the death knell for a city is? Is when someone says, the best place to raise a family in the United States is, boom. I live in Gilbert, Arizona. That was about 6 years ago. Every mother that has troubled kids is like, oh, if I can just get him to Gilbert, we're going to be a happy family, right? And then here comes a bunch of the riffraff. There are cities out there like, no, don't name us. Don't name Omaha. Oh, we're bad. Stay away from Omaha. We're bad. We're this, right? Because when we tell somebody how good we are, everybody wants to come join us. All right. And then address histories. We give you guys, the people who are applying with you, we give you their complete address history. Yes, please. I thought you told me 3 minutes. I'm like, I got a little bit to go. You're out of here. Anyways, we give you the address histories that we find, not the ones they tell you. So if you compare the application to the address history, you're like, you might be missing an address there from last year. Why do you think that'd be the case? I don't want you to know about that eviction. So I had to go in the bathroom and get a towel. And yeah, it is bad. You're not the only one. Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I'm doing a lot of talking here. When we process someone through online applications, we can use so many tools to check their identity. Okay, we can have them answer questions. We can do all kinds of things online we can't do with the paper application. So if you don't use Rent Perfect, I'm okay with that. I'm just hoping you're getting away from this paper applications. But I run into landlords sometimes that I've been doing this for 20 years and I can't get away from it. Get to an online application. Remember, as we look at all these things, the past predicts the future, right? Okay, you only have yourself to blame. If you see it on our backgrounds, on the credit bureau, on the eviction, you say, I'm going to override that. Just remember, when it happens to you, it's your fault, okay? Now, before we go on to red flags, how many of you have a detailed rental criteria? How many don't even know what that is? Okay. In order to stay consistent with fair housing, you need to have a criteria sheet that lays out what you accept and what you don't accept. It's kind of like a summary of your lease. And you need to make sure you have it. In Rent Perfect, we help you build that. Are you going to accept pets? Are you going to accept smoking? How do you feel about past evictions? What do you feel about credit score? Okay, what does their debt to income ratio need to be? All of these need to be on a criteria sheet that you can hand to somebody before they even apply. Okay, you are no longer now making a decision. I like them. They would be great. I mean, you are saying, I go by this criteria. So you need to take some time doing the right criteria. If you want a sample copy of a really good criteria, you can email info@rentperfect.com. They will send you a sample criteria that covers a ton of things you might not think about, okay? Even something like, if you accept the rental, you have to move in within 2 weeks. I'm not holding this for 2 months while you finish up your life, right? Little things like that we don't think about. A detailed criteria, and then we stick to that. Okay, so as we go through red flags, as we go through the showing, I want to make it clear here, we're not making any decisions that we are not going to rent to anybody based on these alone. We're going to stick to our criteria so we stay consistent. Okay, do you guys see how a criteria can keep you consistent if you stick to it? If a criteria can even be this, hey, you're asking $1,200, we can't afford it, would you take $1,100? Well, what if I said to this guy, yes, I'll take $1,100, but I said no to this person? Does that make me treating everybody fair? No. So it even gives you power to say, hey, I'm sorry. This isn't me and my decision to make. I have to stick by this criteria. It's really a good scapegoat. Hey, I'm sorry. I have to give you an adverse selection. You can't live here because you didn't meet the criteria that I shared with you. All right. So criteria is so critical. If you don't know about it, email us. We will get you a list. Anyways, inside Rent Perfect, we make that really easy for you. Okay. Let's just go through some quick red flags. Most of you seasoned landlords just going to shake your head and go, yeah, he's right. But those of you that are new in the market, if you have an immediate move-in, there is a problem. Okay? Or I should say, there's a big chance there's a problem. Now, this got me early in my career because I kind of went out on a limb and I stretched when I bought my first couple rentals. And that mortgage company was coming up, right? And man, they've got cash in their hand and that cash can pay that mortgage payment. And they want to move in tonight. I get this hard process over with. I found a renter. I get my mortgage paid. Someone moves in. I don't have to put any more ads on there. I have to show the property. I'm done. This is great. Take the money and move them in. Okay? Why do you think they might need to move in right away? Chances are they're getting evicted out of somewhere else. Now, we can always listen to a story and we can always confirm the story if they have a real reason. But if they're getting evicted right now and they move into my place, did it hurt them? Did it hurt them? No, in fact, they saved that last month's rent and gave me the deposit now, right? They're like, oh, this is a brilliant way to rent homes. And it didn't hurt them. So how are they going to leave me? Same way, whether it's 2 months, 3 months, or 4 months. And now I sat there as a young investor and I went, wow, I thought I got that problem solved. And I just delayed it a few months. And now I got to turn, fix. And now I'm in a lot worse shape than if I would have just said, here's my criteria. Here's my application. Here's when you can move in. And then we're going to catch the eviction right there, right? Okay, next one. Ask questions about your screening process. Any of you have ever had people say, hey, do you do like background checks outside of Nebraska? How far back do you go on your background screening? Right? Do you, check eviction records and criminal records? Right? Would you guys ask that if you were ever applying somewhere? You'd be like, check the whole world. Take as long as you want. There's nothing on me out there. And you'd feel confident about that, right? So when you say, hey, we got to do a background process and someone starts giving you some guff about it, that's a red flag right there, okay? Next. I love when they tell you stories about the past, okay? I had one. And one I want to tell you about. Over 30 years, I have a few. I learned to get rid of them really fast. Right? I don't mess around with these anymore. But guy said, hey, what's your qualifying process? And I said, well, we do a full background. Well, if you do a background on me, you're going to find that I have this selling narcotics in my record. But I got to tell you the truth. Let me just tell you the truth, okay? They got it wrong. There was this commotion going outside, and I was in this apartment community. And I was like, what is going on at 12 o'clock at night? And I open the door and this hand comes through, grabs me, pulls me out, throws me on the ground, arrests me. And it was the neighbor who was selling drugs. It wasn't even me. And I look at my background once I get it and I say, you pled guilty. Here's what I want to tell you about these stories. You are not the judge and jury. You're the landlord. You're the housing provider, whatever you call yourself. Okay? They had their chance in front of a judge and in front of a jury at one point to explain he pulled me out of the apartment, wasn't me. And if you choose to plead guilty when you weren't guilty, you're going to have to go deal with that. I can't really relitigate this case. So don't listen to it. The reason they're telling you a story now is because you haven't done the background check. Once you did the background check, like I'm telling you, you're not going to listen to the story. Yeah, like I don't care about your story. But if they start telling you stories, remember, these are just red flags. Like your spidey senses are going up, right? At this point, it kind of lets you know who you're dealing with. And if you have multiple people looking at the property, you can massage it that way how you want to do it. Okay? What about asks if you're the owner or management company? Do you guys ever get that? Are you the owner of the property? No? The answer is always no. This used to be a huge red flag for me because I wanted to find somebody who didn't know what they were doing. Somebody who didn't go to a RIA. Somebody who inherited the property from their mom or dad or stumbled across it and who would just love people and really not go through an onboarding process. Because I know a property management company is professional. You ever not run a background check? Right? You always, like, it is policy. We are doing it. But some of you mom and pops out there might think, wow, maybe I should start doing this, right? I don't think anybody in this room, because you guys are seasoned, but do you think there's landlords out there that aren't doing this right? That need to be here? Absolutely. Okay, so, but I did have one person ask me, they said, hey, are you an owner or are you a management company? And I said, well, why are you asking me that? They said, well, because a company came into Phoenix years ago and bought 6,000 properties, Progress Residential. I don't know if they're in Omaha or not, bought 6,000 properties. And they grew so fast, they didn't have maintenance. They didn't have anything. In fact, when I was doing their evictions for this company, I would go put a notice on a door. My team would, but my team would go put a notice on the door. And the notice of non-payment of rent was on there from the last month already. Like, they could have already been going down the eviction process, but they were so big, didn't have it. So a lot of times when we went and evicted people from this company, and they're a great company, they just grew so fast they possibly couldn't build their infrastructure. They weren't getting out and fixing air conditionings. They weren't getting out and fixing leaking faucets. You'd call the number and it would just go to a message center. No one ever get back to you. So this particular person who's running for me said, I just want a landlord who cares about me and who will come in. And that answer made sense to me. So we moved forward, right? So this one used to be a big red flag for me because they wanted to find somebody that they could kind of bamboozle. Okay. If someone is trying to impress you or over friendly, just note that. I'm not looking for a best friend. I got Ted now, right? I'm not looking for another best friend. I just need a business partner that's going to pay the rent. And honestly, not to be mean, but I really only want to hear from you once a month when the ding on the computer tells me the money is in my account. I know that sounds terrible, but I'm busy and I just want to provide you a house. I don't want to become your best friend. We don't need to try to impress each other. Show me money. Tell me your daughter's in the soccer club like my daughter is and try to get all close to me. Okay? Don't let them get close to you. They want you, when you have to make a tough decision, they want you to think about, oh, but this person is so nice. Oh, maybe they made a mistake, but they've learned from it and I'm going to take a chance on it. You're at a business. This is a business. Okay? All right. Next. I love the person that will take anything. Hey, is that 4-bedroom still available? Yeah. Hey, sorry, I just rented it. Do you have anything else? Sorry, I just have like a 3-bedroom. I'll take it. You don't know where it is. You originally needed a 4-bedroom. Now, if you guys went hunting for a house and you sat down with your spouse or whoever and said, I need a 4-bedroom, would you settle for anything else? You want a 4-bedroom. I've got 3 kids. I need a den. I got to work. I work from home. You know your situation. You're not going to budge. So if people will take anything, you have to ask yourself or ask them this question: do you need to move in tonight? Right? Because chances are they might be getting evicted. All right. Ask about your application fee. Application fees are fantastic and wonderful. Put your money where your mouth is. You know what really bothers me? Now, guys, I get on Zillow a little bit. I love Zillow, use Zillow for the marketing, put my properties on there. But you know what Zillow does with their application fees? The applicants pay $25 to Zillow, and for 30 days, they can apply to as many properties as they want. So someone who's desperate for housing, what are they doing? Ding, 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 ding. You would call them and say, hey, you inquired about my property. Oh, yeah, which one was yours? Yeah, it's the one that, I'm going to have to go look at it. I applied at a lot of them, right? So let me ask you a question. If you're looking for, remember we talked about having that business partner for 5 years, that $125,000? If you want that applicant and that future business partner, you want to make sure you pick someone who wants your property, not just a property. The people that through Zillow that are clicking a million different places to apply are looking for just a property. But you want them to want your property. Why do you think you want them to want your property? What?
To take care of your property.
Okay.
It's your baby.
Okay. If my kids are going to the elementary school for the next 3 or 4 years, is that going to keep me there? Right? If I want a pool or don't want a pool or whatever, and I read your listing and I'm like, your property matches what I'm looking for perfectly, there's a chance that they're going to stay there for a really long time. Isn't that what we want? Loyalty. I don't want to sit there and turn these properties every year. I want to put someone in it. What is the old thing? Set it and forget it, right? That's how we generate money, is loyalty. So we're looking for a loyal person who wants our property. I go to the extreme, and at the very end of my paragraph where I say this 3-bedroom, 2-bath is in a wonderful neighborhood, you know that paragraph? I put at the very end, if you reach out to me, you need to let me know that this is a no smoking property. Okay? I call it a code word. You need to let me know this is a short-term rental. You need to know that there are no pets allowed. So when I get 30 people replying on Zillow to me and all those guys that are like $25 I get to apply everywhere, the first person that says, hey, I want to look at your property and I understand it is a no smoking property, that tells me they've looked at all my pictures. They've read everything in the paragraph. This is the property they want. Okay? Because the guy who's clicking apply is not taking the time to read all those paragraphs. So, a code word. Now, if there are 30 landlords in this room, there are 30 different ways to manage. I'm telling you some tools as a private investigator that I use. If you like them, steal them. If for your property that doesn't work, I'm okay with that. You're managing your property just fine. All right? So, one thing about Rent Perfect is we don't tell you how to manage your property. You manage it however you want to manage it. We're just going to give you the tools if you want it. If you come in and use this for backgrounds, but you don't want to process the lease through it, that's fine. If you want to use the rent pay system and don't want to, that's fine. If you want to use the work order process, that's fine. You can use Rent Perfect a la carte. We're never telling you exactly how to manage your properties. We know that's personal, and I don't want people telling me how to do it. Now, I love suggestions, and if I like your suggestion, I'm going to take it, but we all have different properties, right? Okay, so I want you to ask yourself, what are people really telling you in their actions and in their questions? I want you to be a private investigator and really be thinking about, why would you ask me that, right? I want you to get in their head. Okay, let's go to the next slide. When you show the property, I want you to always ask these 2 questions. Let's go to question number 1. What are you going to miss? So we've just met at the property. Hey, I'm David, this is the property. At some point, I'm going to ask, what are you going to miss from your current property you're at? You guys have any idea why I would ask a question like that? What if they answered like this? I'm really going to miss the neighbors at my current property. I love the neighbors. They became one of my best friends, and I'm really going to miss the neighbors. What does that tell you? They're good neighbors, right? They're good neighbors, right? Okay. What if they say, the park across the street, my kids went and played in it all the time, and I'm going to miss the park across the street. And I've had this happen to me. And I said, well, did you drive in down this road? Yes. You know what? Let me take you around this corner, just around the corner. Look at our park. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to miss the park. I've got another park here. Okay, great. So we use it as a sales tool. But this is really what I'm looking for. Let me tell you what I'm not going to miss. I'm not going to miss that landlord who never fixed anything, never called me back, right? It's going to happen. What does that say about a person? That's a pretty positive question, would you guys say? Who do you got? Who do you got applying to you or looking at your property right now? Negative, victim. Who's going to be the next bad landlord that doesn't return the phone calls because they call you 7 times a day and who doesn't fix stuff? It's going to be you. It's going to be you. When they answer these questions about the past, it's going to be you. That's going to give you a glimpse into the future. Okay? We are in the business of fixing our properties and providing great housing for people. That's how we get people to stay for 5 years. You cannot tell me that your past landlord didn't return your phone calls and never fixed. He's in this business. I'm one of them. We want to keep people. We don't want to turn. I am pro-landlord on the landlord side, quite frankly. I don't believe you when you say that. Now, are there slumlords out there, guys? Are there people who manage? Yes. But the people usually that are coming to my single-family homes or mine in nicer neighborhoods, they're just victims. And I really, if I'm going to have a business partner, remember, I might be sounding mean right now, but I have only a matter of maybe a day or two to qualify you to hand you a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 asset. I have the right to ask you a few questions, to make a few judgments. I'm making a big decision in a very little amount of time. I want to stay with the criteria we talked about. Remember the criteria? I want to make sure if anybody comes and says, I'm going to hate the landlord, but I still want to apply, you're going to say, here you go. Go ahead. You cannot stop them from applying. But who are you going to call as you do your background checks? The terrible guy, he's probably going to pick your call up and say, hey, I'm happy to talk to you, right? So you're going to make sure that you make those calls, okay? The second one is, what do you like about this residence? Now, I'm asking about their current residence, and now I'm going into sales mode. I'm asking about what you've seen here today. What do you like? Because now I want to close this deal with the right person, right? So I want to hear things like, I love that it's a single story. I'm coming from a 2-story and it's a single story. I love that my kids go to the school right down the way. What am I thinking in my head when they're telling me this? Loyalty, 5 years, $125,000. Okay? Okay. All right. So all kinds of things that when you ask these 2 questions, and I want to tell you, don't talk. Just listen. When you show a property, you should mostly be listening. What is the old saying that God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? Let's listen. Sometimes we can get in trouble. We talk too much. This is a situation where we have a stranger in our house that could be shopping you for fair housing. They could be setting you up for something, right? We just need to ask a few questions and listen and move on from there, right? We sometimes say some really dumb stuff. I've had people call me, I'm getting sued by fair housing, and this is why. And I'm like, you did that? You weren't at Omaha RIA, obviously. Okay? So let's do a lot of, so how many of you experienced some sort of fraud personally now over the last year? Credit card, maybe got stolen. Anything else? I don't know who hacked my dentist office, but they got everything, and I got the letter. We'll give you credit monitoring. We'll do all this stuff. But somehow I got on the dark web. Like they must have had a red flag around my file, guys. I lost my American Airlines points. They logged in, changed the email, changed the phone number. I couldn't even reset the password. The reset password was going to 1 at something. I didn't even recognize it. They took it. When you lose airline points, you lose airline points. I called American. They're like, well, did you call the cops? I'm like, I don't want to call the cops over airline points. Hey, someone's really stole my airline points, right? But they did take an over the phone thing. It took 30 days for me to get the report. And I sent it back to American Airlines, and they said, yeah, you didn't do it right. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not messing with this. I lost a couple credit cards this year. So there is a lot of fraud out there right now. It is getting worse and worse and worse. Okay? Go ahead. If you learn anything tonight, say you don't have rentals, you don't plan on getting, like Dave, okay, we've listened to you, I'm not really in your world. If you do anything tonight, please put a freeze on your credit. Do you guys have that? Does anybody have any questions on how to do that? Do you need me to explain how to do it? Okay. You go to TransUnion and you go to Experian. They're going to try to sell you something. You're going to say, I don't want what you're selling. By law, they have to freeze your credit, and then they have to allow you to unthaw that freeze anytime you want. So I have my credit frozen. I go to buy a car, and I forget every time. They're like, oh, we ran your credit's frozen. Sorry. Let me get on my phone, unthaw it for a day. I let them have access to my credit, and then it automatically freezes again. This is going to stop people from using your social security number and getting credit using your name, but the check or stuff getting sent to their house. Will you guys make that commitment to me that you at least go look into getting a credit freeze? We need to protect your credit if we're going to buy these homes and use credit. We know credit is money. Very, very important. If you have any questions on that, give me a call. Okay. Never give out your bank account number. I know there are landlords in this room that have people go down and deposit the rent into their personal bank account, and they have their personal bank account number, and that's how they pay the rent. With electronic transactions nowadays, I can get any transaction number from a bank, like their SWIFT code, and if I have your bank account number, I can go into certain online systems, put in your code, put in your account, and I can take money out of your account. Okay? So here we are in the old days writing checks, right? That had our routing number on it, had our account, here, IOU, here you go, right? And we're passing out this account number like crazy. And you really had a hard time doing stuff with it until we went to the digital age. And now with those two numbers, I can wreck your life. And how many of you check your bank statement every single day to make sure nobody did anything? I can't say I do. I find it like 2 weeks later. Yeah, there was a charge. Can you cancel the card, undo the charge? And luckily they can do that. So go ahead to the next one. So buy everything you can with a credit card. Okay? I know we teach our kids don't get in debt, but credit cards give you this feature where if someone frauds you, they will reimburse you. Buy everything you can with a credit card and also enjoy the points, right? Okay, I love this one. Are you guys worried about squatters here in Omaha? I mean, the rest of the country seems to be freaking out about it. Does it bother you at all? Okay. But when your house is empty, do you go by and check it every single hour of the day and make sure it's okay? But who can do that for you? It is important that you know the neighbors next door to your rentals. Like, give them a Starbucks card for Christmas every year. Let them know your criteria. I don't have any smoking on the property. I don't have any pets on the property. If you ever see that, would you give me a call? I have a short-term rental about 2 hours north of Phoenix in this kind of wooded area. And keeping pets out of short terms is kind of tough. If you have a camera at the front door, you can kind of see people come and go. I kind of don't like to monitor my people that closely. But I have a next door neighbor that's not a short-term rental. She lives there, and I'm like, if you see any dogs, let me know. You don't know how many times I call people, hey, you have a dog up there. Well, do you have cameras in here? No. I've got a neighbor who's telling me you have a dog in there, and you need to leave, and you need to leave the dog. And I've had people leave my short-term because I didn't want a dog in there. And I felt a little slighted that you knew I didn't want one, and you brought it to get away with it. So anyways, my point is neighbors are absolutely amazing. I tell my neighbors, my place is empty. I'm going to get you a new neighbor, but I'm going to use Rent Perfect, who's going to do a really good background. So I'm going to get you someone that you don't really have to worry about. I'm going to get you a good neighbor here. Okay. And when I rent this out to this person, I'm going to bring the neighbor, I'm going to bring my business partner over to the neighbor, and I'm going to introduce you. Because I want my business partner to know that I know the neighbor. I know the neighbor, right? So I get a call from the neighbor one time. Hey, Dave, your renter's kids are on your 2-story pitched roof playing tag. They broke out the screen and they're running around the roof. I was 2 miles away. I said, thank you so much. I went over there. I caught them dead in the act. Okay. And I said to the parents, hey, I can't have people stepping all over my tile, possibly falling off the roof. I need to give you a health and safety warning. I gave her a health and safety warning. And by the way, just side story is there was this golf cart in the garage. And I'm like, oh, golf cart. Okay. So a couple of days later, I get the homeowner's newsletter. And it said, there are some kids terrorizing the neighborhood in a white golf cart. So I go back and I said, hey, in the newsletter, oh, that golf cart's been broken for years. It hasn't moved. It doesn't work. So it's not my kids. I'm like, okay, great. Great. And so I go over there the next day. The golf cart's gone. Knock on the door. Garage was open. Knock on the door. Hey, the golf cart's gone. That was broken down for the last little bit, right? Oh, we just got it fixed this morning. These were the kids terrorizing the room. I had to give her an ultimatum. I'm filing an eviction on you, or you can leave. But I'm not going to put up with this. It was the neighbors that tipped me off to that. I would have never known. I don't go by my properties that much, even though it was close to my house. It was the neighbors. Neighbors are very, very important to get to know. Okay. Never post your address online. Okay. Some of us don't even think about it. I can hijack your Zillow listing in 2 seconds. In 2 seconds, I can hijack your pictures. I can hijack your address. I can say this is for sale. Send me $1,000 deposit and I'll show up and show it to you. Right? Or maybe if somebody uses a digital code, I'll call you up and say, hey, I want to look at your property. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to meet you there. The code to the door is 95 whatever. Now you've just given them that. And now they can show people, okay, here's the fake listing. Go look at it. Code is 95 whatever. Okay, you're moving in. And there's a chance around this country that people have come to their rentals, go in the door, and there's a family living there. And they're saying, what are you doing in my house? What are you doing here? I rented it from the landlord. I am the landlord. Right? So don't put your address online. Most places will have a button that says, don't list my address, but they'll have a circle. When they're looking at the maps, it's in this general area, but try to prevent from putting your address online. Never want someone to have that. Okay. What does a for rent sign tell somebody in a neighborhood where you have squatting or you have a lot of issues? What does a for rent sign tell them? Empty house. So I love for rent signs. I get a lot of people off of for rent signs. Is there anything we can do to a for rent sign that would help us, you think? By appointment only, please do not disturb the residents. Okay? Okay. By appointment only. Okay, let's go on to the next. Criminals are smart. Okay, guys, this is awesome. Tonight we are launching Omaha's property management software. It's 95 cents to get up and going. The reason I charge 95 cents is I got to make sure that I know you're a landlord and I know you're a real person. I'm not going to do a full background on you, but I got to know because I'm about to give you social security numbers, date of birth, addresses, and people's personal information. I'd love to make it free, but then everybody would sign up and I wouldn't know who's trying to scam me, right? So it's 95 cents. Every time after that, it's free. I make my money off the tenants pay me the application fee. They get their background. They get their credit. They push a button, share with the landlord, which is you. You get an authenticated copy. You never run their back with you through me. Keeps you out of regulation. If someone says, hey, you ran my credit and I didn't give you permission. I didn't do anything. I gave you an invite to the system I like to use. You went in, you paid for it, you put in your information, you got all your data, and you shared it. It takes you away from a ton of regulations that they have when you're doing background checks on people, okay? So right here, level up your landlording. If you hit this QR code right here, and there's one on the back of the pamphlets I have, but I want you to hit this one, because this one is Omaha's, okay? And they're gonna have this, and what Rent Perfect is gonna do is we're gonna step in the background, and we're gonna give you all the great tools and everything you need, but you're actually going to see Omaha RIA branding. This is an Omaha RIA property management, and they want to give it to you tonight for free for coming here. So scan it, set it up. Even if you think, oh, I'm going to buy rentals, down the road, set up an account tonight. It's going to cost you 95 cents, and you can sit on it. You can transfer tenants into it. You can start new into it. You can use all kinds of cool features in there. But that's a lot more at other places. And Ted said, no, I want to give it to my RIA absolutely free. So that's his gift to you guys if you guys want to take advantage of that. Now, let me say one more thing. I love my property managers. I think there is a place for property managers. They do a great job. But if you have 1, 2, 3 properties and you feel like you want to do this on your own, Rent Perfect will help you until you get big enough where you don't want to deal with stuff, and you can give your whole portfolio over to them, okay? I'm going to close with this. I have 16 properties, and I hate talking about money, I'm sorry. I bring in $32,000 a month in rent. What would that cost me if I hired a property manager? 10%, $3,200 a month. I don't know if I'm extremely cheap or I still have the energy and tools to manage my own properties. At some point, I am going to find a property manager, go off with my wife into the sunset and never look back and have them manage them. But if you got, if you got the gumption to do it yourself, this is going to make it really easy on you. And with that, I really appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much.
David, do you have a few minutes to take questions from people?
Well, I will, but will you click the next slide? Because there's the QR code there too, if you guys want to hit it from there. If you can't, hit this one down below. I would love to take any questions.
So if you have questions, we do have a microphone in the middle. We'd love to have you there so we can get you on camera. Otherwise, if you're not capable of walking there, I will come to you. I know that while we're waiting for somebody, locally, a lot of people, especially if you're in real estate, use the Forewarn app. What's your thoughts on that app? And I know it does basic background checks, but it doesn't get in depth like Rent Perfect.
Tell me the company name again. You kind of broke up on that.
Forewarn.
Forewarn. So most of your property management software are software companies that click in a background check component. The background check component they're clicking into is instant, like we talked about. Okay. We were a private investigation company who only did deep background checks. And then I said, well, why don't I provide a lease for these guys? Why don't I provide a move-in inspection? Why don't I provide rent pay? I built a whole software program around the core of the company, which is the background investigation. So we kind of look like we're both property management software companies, but our core is getting you that right renter the first time. Their core is just to give you an option to do a quick instant background. And you know it because it comes back instantaneously.
Let me just give a good shout out for him. I've been using Rent Perfect for 8 to 10 years. So they've saved me numerous times. Sometimes I went off the script. So, and usually where that was when I took a friend's endorsement rather than listening to the report.
Well, thank you. We've never met. I appreciate that, but I will pay you for that. So.
So you had mentioned that when there's judgments, they're not pulled up on most tenant background checks.
Yes.
So what I've seen is the same thing, but what I've noticed recently is there's other companies like that they're placing their judgments with that are
right.
So
right.
Vinebrook's really big here, or they
right.
were, and so they're selling a lot, but they place liens on people, and so like they use a company called, it's like Hunter Warfield or something along those lines.
Right.
So would you suggest when we have liens against tenants to place them there or to place them with attorneys, or do you have a different approach to that?
So a lien is great on real property if you're going to sell a real property and they got to clear the lien before they sell it, right? But you really can't put a lien on a renter. You can put a judgment on a renter or a collection on a renter. But the only time that's going to hurt a renter is when someone pulls the credit bureau. So you have to go to a collection agency. And a collection agency is the only one nowadays that can put negative credit on the credit bureaus, because Experian and TransUnion says, hey, there's a professional company, and if they report the wrong thing to our bureau, they're responsible, not us. So if you want to put a judgment against a renter or even a collection, you need to find a good collection account and get it done that way. We use National Credit Services to do that. So I've never seen a lien, which is on real property, they don't own real property, be placed against. So we might be semantics. Maybe when you're saying lien, are you meaning a judgment?
I meant judgment.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I don't ever say I know Omaha, I know
No.
Nebraska. I never claim I know it all. So I want to make sure that I'm answering you correctly.
Yeah. And what would you say it was National what?
National Credit Systems.
Okay.
Great company. Even if they say, I'll take 40% of your collection or your judgment, still they hurt the person who's burned you and stop them from getting future homes, future rentals. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Awesome. So I want to know, just from your perception, is the credit rating, in 30 years of experience, what's your preferred number and why? Because everyone seems to have different.
Right. Yeah. Right. So that depends on whether I have a property in a really nice area of town and it's a 5-bedroom, or if I have one, in a different area here in Omaha that would be a lot of Section 8 housing and stuff like that. But I want you to know that 625 is the average renter in America. That gives you at least a baseline. We usually say 700 to buy a house. 625 is our average. But once again, if I have properties in rougher areas, I'm not going to find a 650, 625 person. I might take a 550 or 575, because there are certain times that we need to give you the best of the worst if that's who's going to be applying at your property. Because you don't control who comes and applies at your property, right? You can't buy someplace in the worst part of town and say, I want 750 credit score to live here. You're going to be empty for a very long time. So that changes. And so does that criteria I told you, that criteria sheet, that's individual on each of your properties. Now, if you have some single family homes in the same neighborhood, they can be the same if it's kind of the same, but your criteria should be per property and not your whole portfolio.
Awesome.
Great question.
Best of the worst. I like that. My next question was, so you have 6 companies. Not asking for the whole lore. That, but I was curious, are you going to do a 7th company? Is there, or does each one?
If you ask my wife, she would say, no, we're not doing a 7th company. But I'm a little ADD and I get a little bored and I come across opportunities, and sometimes I can't say no. So we'll see.
With that, what would that 7th company be? Were you looking into?
Well, my last one I'm working on right now is nothing to do. I have a big dumpster rental, kind of a construction rental company in Phoenix that I've been kind of playing with. It's been out of the norm. It's been a little fun for me. It challenges me a little bit, but I don't know. I'm getting in mid 50s. I got to start. To start a company, it takes 5 years for it to really start rolling. And I gotta give my wife if she's watching. I gotta give my wife the due. She's kind of taken back seat. I'm not proud of that in my life. So a personal question is, I would probably consult with her more than I did with my 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Awesome.
I love that question, by the way. Thank you.
Hey, I like to know I like to know what people think. Okay, this question. So what's your biggest problem right now, and what solutions are you looking for, if you have any?
My biggest problem right now is, I think, all of our problem, and that is the rental pool that is out there for my rentals, your rentals, it's not the best. So we need to like really be careful. One of the things we did in Arizona, and I don't know if you guys have here, is we legalized marijuana. And in a lot of my short-term midterms where I'm not getting a big deposit, they're showing up on the weekends, right? And I don't really know them, and I have a no smoking policy. I'm walking in there with the cleaners, where they're like, this place smells terrible. And, they left at 10 and I got new people coming in at 4, right? And so we've lowered our short-term rentals a little bit in Phoenix because we are having a very rampant, people go on vacation, they want to smoke weed, and it makes it tough on us. And I just read an article, was it here in Omaha? That they did a big study, and 42% of the fatality car accidents, they found THC in their system. 42%. It is a problem. It is a problem. So I think that's something we need to address. I feel like I'm running for political office here. Dakota, come on up here. I mean, did I answer that right? Could you coach me a little bit?
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm Michael Schluter.
Hey, Mike.
Wonderful job.
Thank you.
That big challenge of finding qualified people, is there a way of like networking to where we can pull, if somebody's on the brink of like finding another property, but is there any way that, or is there any networking opportunities? Because not just Zillow, is there any platforms that you could recommend?
Yes. So I like to find Facebook groups where a responsible person would hang out in. And I like to advertise on Facebook groups. Sometimes those are job seeking that I know they're moving jobs. Sometimes they're religious affiliation groups in there. And I say, hey, put it everywhere, just don't put it there. But I'm finding a lot of traction when I'm finding that young executive or that kid out of college with his first job at Intel, Amazon, or whatever. And I'm kind of finding them where they live. I think for me personally, Zillow has become Craigslist in the past a little bit. Mm-hmm. And like I say, I always hate to like dog on it. They've got a great product and that's fine. You just have to know what you're getting. Like, for example, the reason that Zillow turns me off a little bit is a lot of things they give you is self-reported from the tenant, and you think if they've reported it, right? So you'll have someone say, I make $120,000 income when I'm like, oh, great, the money's there. If you don't read the fine print, right? And then you go to qualify them and you check and you're like, you work at Taco Bell for $36,000 a year, but you told me you made 120. You have to just know these platforms and what they're giving you. So they have good to them. You just have to know kind of, how they operate. So you protect you, right? You have your best interest in mind. They have their best interest in mind.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Guys, I'm going to hang around here a little bit. I'm staying here at the hotel tonight. I will stay for the drinks and the cocktail hour. So if you come up with a question that maybe you didn't get a chance to hear, let's go have a private conversation about it. I would love to. Go ahead.
Or we can bring it up on a podcast when we interview you tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Steve Knudsen. I'm an investor. I've been investing a long time, a little longer than you. And I'm kind of at the end of your story. I have a number of businesses. All my properties are managed professionally. You have a good product here. Sounds interesting. How do I get my managers to use your product?
So we have a lot of property management companies, and then they tag you on as an agent, and you can see what's going on too. If you want to, a lot of people turn over to property manager, just want to get away from it. But if you want to use a property manager to run the day-to-day, but you still want some say in who's moving in, we have that product for you in there.
What if I want to be disengaged?
No.
I want them to run it.
No.
So
Disengage. But what you want to make sure is the right person's moving into your property. So you need the right property manager. So that's really property managers that you need to go interview.
So I want to use this code, hand it to my property manager, say, you must use this background check.
You're in control. You own the property. We would work with that property management, get it all set up.
Very good.
And
second quick question.
And you could even tell us your criteria if you had a certain criteria, or let them tell us the criteria.
Very good. Paper checks. I have 2 paper checks in my account, in my pocket right now.
Okay.
For 2 different companies.
Okay.
that I have with me all the time. I'm ready to burn them all based on what you just said.
You should. Do you have 2 credit cards in your pocket?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I have more than that.
Does the Omaha community accept checks a lot anymore?
Oh, yeah. I pay a lot of
Do
my
you go to
vendors.
Chick-fil-A and write a check?
I write checks every couple days.
My painter, my electrician, I pay them with checks. They like it
Yeah.
paid right now. But I can Venmo.
Yeah.
We can Venmo.
I would rather use Venmo or Zelle, to be honest with you.
Yep.
You know, the problem is you only have to run into the wrong person one time,
That's right.
and you know, they do some damage. We've had a lot of fraud come through Rent Perfect where they sign up as a landlord, and then the same person tries to be a tenant, and then they put in that check in your pocket, they put in the routing numbers and try to transfer money, acting like they're paying rent, and they get caught because we have the systems to say, you can't do this, right? You're not the owner of that check, of that account. We stop it all. But there's a lot of companies that just let that fly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's go have some drinks.
We have one person
So-
that really is wanting to ask you a question.
So, quick follow up on his, where you run multiple checks. I mean, I have like 7 different checking accounts, and like most of our business stuff, we don't, we'll use our credit card. But like you say, when you're paying all your contractors and all that, which you would think you would be able to trust them, but how do you do that when you don't? I mean, when my guys won't take any of that stuff, any of the electronic. I mean, I don't want to pay them cash because that's the safest, but it's the hardest to track. So what's your recommendation when you're in that situation like that?
Do background checks on your vendors. Know who they are.
Gotcha.
Right? If they've been around a long time,
Yep.
you know, and only mail it to their business. Don't hand it to a guy on the job site.
But your
unless
guys aren't
he's-
beating you down as they're driving out the driveway, like, dude, I need 2 checks today. Because that's
Yeah.
where mine always are. But yeah.
But you know the guys you're giving it
Yeah.
to? Okay. That's fine. Just, you can trust people. That's fine. But just don't be handing them out like crazy.
Right.
They have a new employee coming and he says, my boss wants me to get a check from you. You might not want to do that.
Right. So you would run a background check on any of those randoms that you're new.
We have a company called Vendor VIP. You can run background checks on them. Easy to do.
Right on. Thanks.
I know all of your past tonight, right now. I've ran you all. No. But guys, that's a great question, is if you have a different situation that's not maybe a business partner, give me a call. I probably have something that can help you, whether it's you're going into business with someone and you just want to make sure, you're going to do a transaction with someone, you just want to make sure. We have those. I am your background check guy. I will tell you the people you're doing business with if you should do that or not. Based on remember, I can only tell you their history. I have no idea what kind of people they are, and everybody commits their crime the first time, right? I can only tell you if there's a trail, of wrong decisions.
He's not a criminal yet.
You guys have been great. Thank you so much.
Nice. David, man, didn't disappoint.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey guys, we're just gonna wrap up with a couple giveaways here before we wrap up. First off, Angela's got a book to give away. We're gonna do a drawing. I'll come to you, Angela. I'm coming. The 5-second rules tonight's book giveaway. Somebody donated it and there wasn't a card in there. So let me get over here. Okay, Angela, who is our winner of tonight's book? And while we're doing this, just so you know, nobody took a picture tonight and tagged Set the Stage on Instagram to get a $50 gift card. There's 5 of them. Take a picture, tag Angela, and you get a $50 gift card. Do it. You're more Vanna White than me. The winner is
Nicole Mahoney.
with Sum and Substance. She's my bookkeeper. Yay. Boom. Now you have. Okay. So yeah, tag the Instagram, Set the Stage, and she's got a $50 gift card for you guys. Just a quick heads up. Next month, we have Casey Gregerson. Casey's flipping, I think it's 5 to 10 houses a month. We're flying him in from, I believe, Utah. We've had him on a podcast, killing it. We're super excited to have him on the first Tuesday of the month. December, we're going to have Jordan Downey. He's one of the partners with Frankel Zachariah. He's going to go over all the new legal and tax law restrictions. So that's going to be very important to be prepared for the end of the year. And then January 16th, we have our fix and flip event. If you guys are interested in that, the tickets are only $250. I've never heard so many talk at the end of the event here. Hey, guys, can I get your attention for 1 minute? Woo, here we go. I'm almost done, guys. I'm sorry. January 16th, we have our full day fix and flip event. We are lining up our speakers. It's $250 if you want a ticket. It's an all-day event. It is accredited and sponsored by Randall School Real Estate. You can get a ticket out in the hallway. Next month, Casey Gregerson, master flipper. I met him through our podcast, and Brandon Turner's been bringing him on throughout his process. He is kicking ass. Check out his podcast if you want to know more information about him. And appreciate you guys. Set the Stage is sponsoring the happy hour event over in the bar, just right down there. First round of beers are free. Take advantage of that. Have some drinks. The best networking happens after the event. Hey, can we get one more round of applause for David, please? Kicked it. Awesome. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate your support. I love this group. If you guys need me, I'm an open book. You guys can call me or hit me up on any of our socials. Have a good night.